It is Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton along with Wade Neely. We are coming to you from the Lee Company Studios here at West 7th Street in Columbia. Glad to be with you here for the next couple of hours talking about sports topics of local, regional, and national importance. And we will be covering all of those angles as we look through the run of show, and looking forward to doing so. Wade, how's your Tuesday?
Tuesday's off and running. You're right. We have a lot to tap into. A lot of comings and goings, particularly in the NFL. Some goings, but some comings for teams of local interest. So a lot of names and faces to kind of get recalibrated. A lot to kind of still tap into in terms of Major League Baseball and fallout from the weekend, and kind of as we move along. Yeah, this train keeps on rolling with just a few days left here in the month of August.
Absolutely. Looking forward to getting into it, and that comings and goings in particular that you talked about. Looking forward to that. I think we lost something. There we go. We didn't lose anything. I just lost something. But yeah, a lot of comings and goings, and we kind of foretold some stuff with yesterday's show, actually. We're going to get into that in the second hour. We will also get into some Middle Tennessee State athletics info in the second hour as we visit with the Blue Raider Voice, as we usually do on Tuesdays. In our next segment, one of our favorite guests, JAMESETTA Cleveland from Sports Mom U, is going to be dropping in, and we've got a topic to discuss with her that if you are a college football fan, particularly of a certain orange team about 3 hours to the east, you're going to want to hear about, because there's some interesting stuff there. Not with that team, but with someone who has pledged to be a part of that team.
A potential future member of that team.
Exactly.
A little bit of a walk you got to do with us, but we'll get you there. Trust
Absolutely.
us.
No doubt. Also, we're going to talk a little baseball, because right now it's a good time to do so. The Braves actually showed some signs of offense last night. Astros took a tough one on the chin last night, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show. And again, comings and goings in the NFL. So stay tuned. Oh, and it is Top 5 Tuesday. Wade and I are going to delve into the top 5, because college football starts this weekend. So our top 5 college football entrances / traditions. And I think this is going to be good.
It's going to be good. A slip and slide from Peck Forest for MTSU will not be on my list, but that would be a cool entrance. But there was a team that we talked a lot about on this show yesterday that I have had a chance to be a part of their entrance, and that's kind of what got the wheels turning, because there's a lot of cool ones out there and a lot of game day traditions, which separates college from high school and separates college from professional ranks.
Without question, there is some very unique stuff out there, and looking forward to getting into that. That will be in our final segment of the day as we continue our first segment of the day, because producer Mark continues to be amazed with how long this portion of this segment is. But it's time to get into yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
To the Tuesday Rundown we go. We start today's rundown with volleyball scores from last night. Buckle up, strap in, here we go. It was Columbia defeating Hickman County 3-0. Eagleville takes care of Riverdale 3-1. Franklin Road Academy on top of Columbia Academy 3-0. Summertown dispatched Lawrence County 3-1 was your final there. Loretto with a couple of 2-0 victories, first over Lincoln County, second over Lauderdale County out of Alabama. Cookeville defeats Stewart's Creek 3-0. Warren County with a 3-0 win versus Laverne. White County on top of Smyrna 3-1. Mount Pleasant 3, Zion Christian 2. A couple of girls soccer scores from last night on the Monday schedule. It was BGA 6, Columbia Academy nothing. CPA picked up a 2-0 win versus Brentwood Academy. Innsworth 2, Bowling Green, Kentucky 1. Franklin 1-0 over Lipscomb Academy. Hunters Lane all over Republic 8-1 was your final there. Lawrence County with a 5-1 victory versus Loretto. It was Spring Hill 8 and Battle Creek 2. And rounding out your women's soccer scoreboard from last night, it was St. Cecilia Academy 4, Cane Ridge 1.
Major League Baseball action from last night, as we mentioned, Philadelphia with a 3-2 10-inning victory over the Astros. Also, the Braves, despite a rain delay, defeated Minnesota 10-6. WNBA action from last night. The Fever with an 84-79 win over the Dream. The New York Liberty stayed hot or got back hot again because they lost over the weekend, right? Defeating the Mercury 84-70, and the Mystics with a 74-72 win over Seattle. Swinging into a little bump set spike volleyball action this evening. Santa Fe travels to Houston County. That's a 5 o'clock start. Murfreesboro Central is at Hume Fogg at 6:30. At 5:30. At 5:45, Middle Tennessee Christian goes to Providence Christian. Also, Columbia Academy is at University School of Nashville. Grace Christian of Franklin is at Webb School of Bell Buckle. 6 o'clock starts for Tullahoma at Columbia Central, Culleoka at Eagleville, Coffee County at Lawrence County, Gallatin at Mount Juliet. Loretto travels up to Mount Pleasant. Rockvale is at Riverdale at 6. Stewart's Creek is at Smyrna. Marshall County goes to Spring Hill. Hampshire is at Summertown. Laverne is at Wilson Central. Giles County is at Zion Christian. And at 6:30, Oakland goes to Siegel.
To girls soccer, we go now for your Tuesday night schedule. Action gets underway at 4:30 as John Overton goes to Hunters Lane. 5 p.m. kickoffs now. Friendship Christian traveling to Ezell Harding. It's Nashville Christian at Good Pasture. Lawson will visit Hillsboro. And it'll be Antioch at St. Cecilia Academy. 5:30 action this evening as STEM Academy travels to Glencliff. University School of Nashville is at Grace Christian Franklin. Also at 5:30, Cane Ridge traveling to McGavock. 6 p.m. now as Kenwood travels to Clarksville Northwest. Upperman will be at Watertown. Middle Tennessee Christian is at White County. Huntland traveling to Zion Christian this evening. Hume Fogg is at DCA. Creekwood is at Fairview. Martin Luther King will be at Franklin Road Academy. It'll be Giles County at Marshall County at 6 p.m. this evening. White House Heritage at Portland to cap our 6 o'clock kickoffs. 6:30 window now, just a couple of matches. It'll be Forest at Richland and Smyrna at Valor Collegiate. But that brings us into 7 o'clock, prime time for White House at Beach. Father Ryan at Brentwood. Rossview is at Clarksville, Springfield at Clarksville Northeast, Columbia traveling to Coffee County tonight. Lead Academy is at Dixon County. Hendersonville is at Green Hill. West Creek at Kirkwood tonight at 7 p.m. Sycamore traveling to Montgomery Central. Oakland, who's at Mount Juliet. Centennial at Nolensville this evening. Rockvale, who's at Riverdale. Blackman at Siegel. Ravenwood at Station Camp. Laverne at Stewart's Creek, Independence at Summit, and rounding out your schedule for tonight, 7 p.m., Cookeville traveling to Wilson Central.
Major League Baseball action at 5:40 this evening. You can see it on the Houston Astros continue their series at Philadelphia against the Phillies. And at 6:40 on Valley Sports South, the Atlanta Braves continue their series at Minnesota against the Twins at Target Field. 5:35 tonight, the Nashville Sounds open a game series over at Charlotte, taking on the Knights, the White Sox AAA affiliate. And in WNBA action tonight at 7 o'clock on NBA TV, the Las Vegas Aces take on the high-scoring Dallas Wings. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your rundown. Your top story of today brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and get through there to check out their delicious daily deli lunch options, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And Wade, we've mentioned it more than once on this show, but apparently it's true that it does just mean more. Oklahoma running backs coach DeMarco Murray, formerly of the Tennessee Titans.
Once upon a time, apparently ran afoul of some NCAA recruiting guidelines. He has been suspended for a game as a result of doing so. Murray now in his 5th season as running backs coach at his alma mater. It was determined he impermissibly contacted prospects and their families before he was allowed to. 17 prospects over 16 months, 65 impermissible phone calls, and 36 impermissible text messages. Indicated he was not aware of a COVID-19 or was not aware that a COVID-19 waiver of recruiting contact rules had expired. So has not been announced which game he will not be available for as of yet. I assume Oklahoma opens this weekend. Friday versus Temple. Quite a few games on Friday this week, and yeah, they got Temple on Friday. So you assume, not dissing the Owls, but I mean, you would assume that he's going to be out for that one.
You would think, go ahead and get this over with, particularly there.
Yeah. Knock that out. Don't let it drag on any longer. And part of me wants to believe, that DeMarco didn't realize that this waiver. I mean, it's certainly possible. You get used to the new rules, and then all of a sudden the rules go back to the way they were, and you're kind of not in proper standing, I guess, if you will, with the NCAA. So the wild part is 65 phone calls, 36 text messages. He's got his rate. These are kids we're talking about. He better dial that down to about 20 phone calls max, and you better increase the text to like 200 because people ain't making the phone calls to the kids these days. He's got his formula backwards.
Well, are kids actually answering those phones?
That's what I'm saying. That must be to the parents or a burner or
Maybe
something.
Maybe that was to the parents.
Because, he's got his ratio wrong there if that's the case. Yeah. But he's going to be dinged for a game. You do the crime, you got to do the time.
Here's the thing. For all of that, you get one game?
I mean, it's kind of a lump umbrella, I suppose. Hey, every single one of these infractions was as a result of what I thought the waiver, old Dave Chappelle, I didn't know I couldn't do that type situation. So, we'll let you slide with one of those there.
Was that wrong?
Yeah. So, who knows? But it's, it's not a great look, but, as long as this doesn't become a recurring pattern, I feel like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, and I think, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But it is an infraction. So, deal with that, get it out of the way. And as you said, I'm just not sure how much you're going to need DeMarco against Temple if you're Oklahoma. And if you do, then that's indicative of some other issue. Maybe you weren't calling the right people impermissibly.
Yeah.
If that was the case.
Oklahoma's the only ranked team on Friday night. Lehigh will be at Army. Florida Atlantic at Michigan State. That actually should be a pretty good game. Duke, we just talked about Duke a lot on the program yesterday. They're at home versus Elon. Western Michigan at Wisconsin. Big matchup, perhaps. TCU at Stanford. That'll be your ESPN game. After Oklahoma and Temple are your first ESPN game at 6, and then TCU Stanford at 9:30 on Friday.
Might get home for the second.
Maybe able to check it out for sure.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and go to a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return to the Lee Company studios, we will be joined by JAMESETTA Cleveland of Sports Mom U. Stay with us. You do not want to miss her. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
He shoots, and he scores!
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, that's Wade Neely, and we are now joined by JAMESETTA Cleveland of Sports Mom U. We wanted to reach out to JAMESETTA because news comes over the weekend that Tennessee commitment Faison Brandon's mom has sued the North Carolina State High School governing body over an NIL situation. Apparently, the Brandon family was approached about Faison signing some trading cards for potentially 7 digits. And that was disallowed by, I'm not sure the exact title. Well, she has filed a lawsuit against the State Board of Education and the Department of Public Instruction. Neither of those are actually the governing board for it. There it is, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association passed guidelines a year ago that would allow NIL, but that was overturned, I guess, by a Senate action later. And so, again, Faison Brandon's family, Rolanda Brandon, has brought suit in Wake County Superior Court over this. JAMESETTA, good afternoon, first of all.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, we can barely hear you for what that's worth, but did I lay that out about right? Did I miss anything?
You missed it, and so I'll give everybody some background because that'll let them know why this is significant. So,
Okay.
but you're right. It's Faison Brandon. He is the number 1 commit in the class of 2026. He's a quarterback from North Carolina, and his mom, Rolanda Brandon, is suing 3 parties that I could find thus far: the state of North Carolina, the North Carolina State Board of Education, and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. And so what people need to understand is this is a case where adults kind of are adult fights are getting in the way of children. So in 2023, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Well, first, let me say North Carolina has 2 different athletic associations. It has a high school athletic association that governs public schools and a few parochial schools. And then it has what's called the North Carolina Independent School Athletic Association, which sets the rules for private schools, which is a little bit different from here. So under normal circumstances, a high school association will make the rules for high school athletes. So the North Carolina High School Association, on the public side, their board of governors met and they said, hey, we are going to allow NIL for North Carolina high school public students. And it was supposed to go into effect July 1st of 2023. Well, the high school association has been feuding with someone, I can't find who, in the state government. And so a little bit after the high school association said its ruling, the state legislature in North Carolina had a bill for insurance, Senate Bill 452, and they added a rider to that bill. And that rider took the power to make rules for public school athletes only, not private school, just public school athletes, away from the High School Athletic Association, and gave it to the State Board of Education. And we're here because the State Board of Education very quickly said, we will not allow public high school students to do any type of NIL activities. So for the past year or so, North Carolina has had this 2-tiered system where if you were an athlete that went to a private school, you could run camps, you could sign autographs, you can be on training cards, you can do whatever NIL opportunities you like, as long as they don't violate the published guidelines. But if you were in a public school, then you couldn't do anything at all. And so in this instance, a trading card company comes to the young man, offers him a deal that is, they're saying in the lawsuit, they're saying that this rule is going to cost him at least $1 million. That's what the lawsuit said. It's a large amount of money. And so his attorney, to be fair, the family's attorney did reach out to the state, the director of the Board of Education, several times before they filed the lawsuit. They never responded. And so yesterday we got the notice that she filed a lawsuit in court where she is suing so that public school athletes will have the opportunity to make money on their athletic name, image, and likeness. And it's really interesting because the State Board of Education responded and said, well, no, this was just temporary. We're going to make rules. The rules are just not going to they're just not going to come into play until 2025, 2026. Well, this young man, even though he's class of 26, he's made it honest. He's made it open that he's going to graduate early in December of 25. So he wouldn't benefit by the new rules when they take place in a year and a half.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much, really, JAMESETTA, for this to be considered by just a bystander as potentially discriminatory.
So I I can say this. In certain states, there is not a good opinion of public schools in general. And if you remove the high profile athletes from public schools, then what do? You remove some of the funding, because some schools have very great programs and some of their funding comes from athletics. I would say it's really unfortunate that adults who should know better, who were elected, would say, no, we're not going to allow the athletic association to make rules for the athletes. That is just the height of stupidity to me.
Let me ask you, for the majority of our listeners who are in state, if Faison Brandon were at Columbia Central High School here in Columbia, would he be able to enter into this agreement with this trading card company?
Yes, because Tennessee, rightfully so, are, for good or for bad, whether you like the way that our NIL policy is written, it is written in such a way that allows all high school athletes to take advantage of their NIL opportunities, whether they're public or private school athletes.
Now, and that is another story for another day, because one, no NIL at the high school level is perfect anyway. Two, this one is particularly imperfect on a number of fronts, but at least this situation would be covered in it, and a young man in that situation would be able to take advantage of this. So I think
changing
I'm sorry?
$1 million is life changing. $100,000 for some people is life changing, but this is a life changing amount of money that this.
And to your point, JAMESETTA, and this is the craziest part of this whole story, is another kid that we've just talked about committing to Tennessee, also in North Carolina, David Sanders Jr., is at a private school, and he has a full-blown website with all of his merch completely available for sale. So it's just wild to think about that we're talking about the public versus private. Quick plug, DavidSandersJrOfficial.com. I'm eyeballing a $40 hoodie, no big deal. But it's wild to think about that. To Mo's point, is it seems a little it's either complete oversight or at worst potentially discriminatory, it sounds like.
Discriminatory, and for me, retaliatory, because why would you take the decision-making ability for high school athletes away from the association that actually makes the rules for the coaches and other things like that? To me, that makes no sense. And to put it into a bill that was on its surface about insurance. It was really interesting the way in which this was done, but very discriminatory. And I want to know, like, for me, I'm like, there's always a backstory of why someone doesn't like someone somewhere. It was very specific. So if you're in the high school association in North Carolina, on the public school side, you can't make rules about NIL. You can't make rules about transfers. You can't make rules about athletic eligibility. It's the craziest thing to me that they would deliberately create a two-tiered system. It's crazy to me.
Had the North Carolina High School Athletic Association not had this decision-making ability taken from them, do we know if Faison Brandon would be able to enter into this agreement?
Well, yes, they would have, because it's interesting. Literally, the association had a policy as of July 1st of 2023. They were ready to allow public school athletes to take advantage of their opportunities. It was the state that took action after they had already said, hey, this is what our policy is going to be.
And to your point, I mean, $1 million at any age is life-changing money. $1 million at that age. I mean, he's in the class of 26. I mean, he's a high school junior. And and it might be even more than that eventually, but it's potentially millions of dollars that he has no guarantee of ever recouping.
Oh, he won't. He won't.
Well, I mean, no matter how much money he makes, he's missed out on this. So he's got no chance of recouping it. Yeah, like you said.
Just think about it. If you're the trading card company, if I can get you a package with his high school card, his college card, and his potentially NFL rookie card, that's a lot of money because it's a rarity. This is like, for trading card companies, it's a very new thing that they can package, but it is really interesting. Like, he won't recoup that money. What about autograph signings? Because I know somebody wants to talk to him after every game. What about getting paid for podcast appearances? I know people want to interview him because he's already committed. They want to talk about his journey. What about a camp that he can't run because he can't? What about selling merch? What about public appearances? I mean, there's so much money that he's going to lose out on in just the net. Well, he's already lost out on money because ideally he should have been able to start taking advantage of opportunities last year. So he's already lost a year of money. He's into losing his second year of revenue that he won't get back, potentially another 18 months.
And what I'm curious too is, does this have any impact on kind of establishing a market price or a floor for when he arrives to college? Now, does the NIL collective at the collegiate level say, well, we would have based it on what you had initially brought to the table based on your high school earnings, but because that doesn't exist, now we kind of come up with a different figure. I'm curious, does that impact anything?
It does, because there is no market value on a market that doesn't exist. If you go into not just the collective, but let's just say this young man actually goes further and goes to this has been my experience with my college athletes that have gone to the next level. Not only are you taking away his bargaining power at the collegiate level, but you're also taking away some of his bargaining power when he gets to the professional level as well, because the market, $1 million market at age 17, 18, it doesn't go lower. Like, they're impacting his earning opportunities from an endorsement perspective for the rest of his life.
And when you think about it like that, it's particularly frustrating, I guess.
Frustrating, and you can't say that you care about kids. You can't say you really care about families, because statistically speaking, the kids who play football, basketball, where the money goes, they're overwhelmingly from lower income families. You're missing the opportunity to actually put in really great financial guidelines or offer financial education opportunities, and you're missing the opportunity to change their life. There's no guarantee he's going to make it in college, but there is a guarantee that he has an offer on the table right now that would have paid him $1 million. And you're taking the economic advancement of a family away. We're talking about generational wealth in this one deal, and we're not even talking about the full gamut of what he could earn. Just this one deal was 7 figures.
And when you frame it that way, JAMESETTA, the question becomes why? Because it's not money out of your pocket.
There has historically been in this country this tug between the bodies who do the labor and the power structure that wants to control the labor. And this is kind of indicative of that. It's really just saying there are people out there who say, well, high school athletics is pure. It's not governed by money, which is a lie. But if you like to believe that lie, then okay, I'll let you. But there's a group of people who are like, well, we're going to preserve the purity of high school sports as if we don't have North Carolina basketball schools that are charging $70,000 a year, or if IMG doesn't exist. Like, it's really interesting. And then some people feel like athletes should just be grateful for an education and they should, quote unquote, wait their turn. I didn't have this opportunity, so you shouldn't have this opportunity either.
It's really tough. And I mean, you would like to think that she's going to prevail in court at some point, but at what cost? Because again, if they drop, this is money and this is an opportunity that he's never going to be able to recoup, regardless of whether they win in court. But you know, what they can do is keep somebody else from having to deal with it, I guess. But as far as how this directly impacts Faison Brandon and his family, he's not going to get this opportunity back.
He won't. I haven't actually had an opportunity to review all of the lawsuit. I don't know if they're asking for damages. But again, that it really would kind of suck, because if he asked for damages, he would probably get them, right? But it would come from the taxpayers in North Carolina instead of coming from this private company, which really sucks.
Which makes no sense.
No.
Somebody's got to pay somewhere if they're asking for damages.
Right. This is such a fascinating aspect of, and not just college athletics at this point.
Yep.
You know, this is such a fascinating aspect of athletics as we sit here in 2024. And man, I'm so happy that we've got a resource like JAMESETTA Cleveland of Sports Mom
Yes.
to kind of lean on this, because JAMESETTA's kind of been at the forefront of this whole evolution here. She got into this again, trying to help her son negotiate the recruiting odyssey of college athletics, and kind of morphed into, not that she's not an expert at that as well, but she is a self-trained expert on a lot of this stuff, and it's happening in real time. And that's why I'm such a fan and an admirer of JAMESETTA Cleveland.
Oh, well, thank you, Mo. I've been a fan since you were Nostradamus.
Well, I'm still Nostradamus, and you might be one of a few fans as far as that goes. But I mean, what else right now are you kind of, other than this situation, what are you eyeing from NIL issues?
I am really looking at who is being forward thinking when it comes to the world. I say post House, but I'm looking at the House settlement. I'm really looking at how many colleges and universities are hiring GMs at this point in time. I'm watching the conversations that they're having on how to limit athlete compensation, because at its core, we're talking college athletes truly are employees. That whole question is going to have to be answered. And I am watching how colleges and universities are already preparing and preparing their strategies and getting their staff in place so that they can limit athlete compensation before we even know that they can be compensated. And I'm also observing how little athletes and parents are really, really paying attention to the fact that there's this whole infrastructure being built to limit their economic opportunities before they even get them.
It's interesting that you mentioned GMs. We were talking here recently about Courtney Morgan down at the University of Alabama, who was kind of in a bidding war, or involved in a bidding war, basically between, I guess, Southern Cal and Alabama. He is currently at Alabama, and his compensation was raised to supposedly $800,000 a year. USC was offering 1.2 million, and Alabama had to up the ante. But we were trying to figure out what exactly it is that a general manager does, because I've not seen that title a lot at the collegiate level. I mean, I've seen recruiting director, but I hadn't seen general manager. So when you said that just now, take me through the responsibilities, I guess, of that title in 2024.
So this is just my opinion. It's really being fleshed out right now. College doesn't know what they're really looking at. The only place really that has a general manager is the pros. And you're looking to see what do they do. I I haven't personally been able to find a job description. I can say that from what I have observed, it's all about people management and mitigating risk to the university. And when I say risk to the university, for me, that is loss of athletes through transfers or through inappropriate behavior. So I can't really say that they all know what they're doing because it's a very new position and everybody's doing it trial and error. The best example would be, even though people don't like to admit it, they're going to be drawing a lot from professional teams because that's the only place where a GM position really exists.
Yeah, it's kind of the only parallel. Jamesetta, I wanted to ask you, where does Tennessee rank statewide? Are we on that more progressive line of thinking in terms of NIL at the high school level, or is Tennessee on the other end of the spectrum? I'm just curious, just your flat out opinion there.
We're not progressive at all, in my opinion. What you have in here is people that are really doing low key. I say this all the time: legalized inducements or regular play. We really haven't, and it's super frustrating. In a state that prides itself on entrepreneurship and being the place where businesses come to live and thrive and discover themselves, we do a really poor job with education at the high school level. We do a poor job of even helping coaches lean in to understand what the new world could be like and how they could model certain things with their high school athletes to change the economic opportunity for and futures of their families. We're common. We're not progressive.
At the same time, though, Jamesetta, I mean, the fact that kids can run camps and do individual instruction and different things like that, I mean, that is a step in the right direction, is it not?
Absolutely. It is. It is. So here, I'll give you a freebie. Guys, if you're listening to this is completely free. So for example, there are schools that pride themselves on doing summer camps. They will even have athletes come in to volunteer at those summer camps. For me, progressive would be bringing your student athletes in from day one so that they can see this is how you plan. This is what you need insurance for. This is how you think about facilities. This is how you plan for campers. This is how you get sponsors. This is how you make sure that you have an athletic trainer or EMT, like the business of running a camp. You bring their bodies there to run it, but progressive is teaching them how to do it so that no matter where they go, they have learned an actual skill. That's just my opinion. So love that you can do that. I really do.
What will it take for that to be advanced? Is that something that has to come? Is there an appointment or a person or a visionary that kind of advances that? Or is this something that we just kind of slowly, case by case, kind of legally wade our way through this?
So I would say for me, advancement really takes visionaries and they need to envision business. It's very difficult to envision what business can be if you're an employee. And I don't say that in a negative way. Mo, did I lose you? Because I can't see you guys.
Back in there.
Yeah. Mark, do we still have JAMESETTA?
You do.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. We lost connection a little bit ago, right in the middle of your remarks there regarding the visionary aspect of this. And I guess to put a final point on this, I mean, do you make yourself available to administrators at the high school level, TSSAA personnel, that kind of thing? Because it sounds like that would be an entry point for what you're saying in terms of high school NIL education.
I would say I am around coaches all the time. I invite them to my classes or to have conversations with me. Even offer to be the vendor for certain coaches for education. But TSSAA has an official vendor that they actually already have a contract with. They have someone who comes in and they do everything online. So we definitely don't like to step on toes. They've decided that they have a vendor, and this particular vendor is the vendor that they want to use.
Okay. Tell people how they can find you.
You can find me on social media. I am on Twitter and Instagram as at sports_mom_you. I'm also on Facebook as Sports Mom University. I have a business page there. And I do respond if you send me a message. I'm super available to parents. I run an online community of sports families who talk to me on a regular basis about these things. So you are more than welcome to find me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll connect you to my online community.
JAMESETTA Cleveland, the Sports Mom U. We apologize for the technological issues that we had late in the conversation, but we appreciate so much you taking some time to visit with us this afternoon, and look forward to getting you back on again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, when we continue here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we'll be talking a little baseball. So stay tuned when we come back to the Lee Company studios after this.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
August 27th, 1955, Danny O'Connell hit a pair of solo home runs, a second leading off the 11th inning as Milwaukee squeezed past the host New York Giants 5-4. O'Connell also got the Braves on the scoreboard with a one-out homer in the top of the first, while the visitors put together a three-run third-inning rally before the Giants rallied and forced extra innings. Johnny Logan added a pair of hits with Lou Burdette getting the win in relief, and Ernie Johnson, retiring the only batter he faced for the save. That was this day in Braves history. As we mentioned, Braves opened a series in Minnesota last night. Before the rain came, they scored 9 runs in the first and second innings, and that turned out to be enough in a 10-6 win over the Twins. Max Fried came back out after the break and went 5 to pick up the victory there, and 13 hits for the Braves, including a Matt Olson bomb and one by Travis d'Arnaud that closed out the scoring. But nice performance, in every aspect for Atlanta. I mean, again, they got 5 innings despite the rain out of Max Fried.
And I'm always fascinated about at what point do they pull the plug or make a change on starting pitching on that? I've seen it happen so many times this year. A guy will come in and either not come back out or be bumped entirely, it feels like.
I think it's just kind of a feel thing, and I think a lot of it depends on how the pitcher handles it. I mean, I'd love to know if Max went and threw some, up in the inside facility or whatever, during that break, or how exactly that played out. But he wound up striking out 7 in 5 innings through 73 pitches. And, again, when the rain came, it was 9-1 Atlanta. And so you really wanted, if there was any way to do so, get him through 5 and get him in position to pick up that victory. His first in a while, I think. So, big win for him. Whit Merrifield, 5 for 5 at the top of the order, with Michael Harris presumably out after getting hit in the hand on Sunday, but he comes in as a defensive replacement mid-game, and thank goodness, because he went and got one in dead center late in the ball game that probably had extra bases and multiple runs written all over it. But yeah, he came in, went into center field, and Ramon Laureano, well, they shook it all the way up because Kelenic started in center. He moved over to left. Laureano went from left to right when Harris came in. Harris went 0 for 1, but he was one of the few that did not have a hit. Ozuna with a pair of hits, pair of ribs again. Olson with a bomb, went 3 for 5 with 5 ribs. Nice night. And so let's see if they can follow it up tonight as Spencer Schwellenbach goes against Simeon Woods Richardson. Schwelle 5-6 with a 3.94 ERA. Woods Richardson 5-3 with a 3.69. So, maybe the Braves can keep the good vibes going in the Twin Cities.
So throwback series.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Old time.
Yeah, that's growing up in my youth watching that, with the parents World Series type situation with Kirby, rest in peace.
Stop it.
Man.
Bryce Harper got y'all last night, huh?
Got the Astros, for sure. And it was a tough night, Houston was trying to help the Atlanta fans of the world out, and they couldn't get it done. So Harper is been a thorn in many of folks' sides, and he was definitely a thorn last night. As that feels like one that Houston probably, you would think, should have gotten, but we'll see how it pans out. Maybe go tonight. Verlander and Nola, I think, are your two starters. I know Verlander's throwing tonight. Should be a fun matchup with those two. And after a low-scoring affair last night, you got the two quality pitchers out there this evening. You're thinking, okay,
this could be another one.
Could be another one. I get a feeling it's going to be a lot of hits tonight. It's just kind of the way the world seems to work.
It is Verlander and Nola. What feel do you have for Verlander past this year with everything that he's gone through to get on the field?
Well, he's definitely said that he still wants to be that. He wants to get to that 300 mark, and he wants to pitch until he's 50. And so is he 46 now? I think he's made the comment though. 41. I mean, he's willing to do whatever it takes. Now, as far as if that means he's going to be doing it with Houston, that part I couldn't tell you. But it seems like he definitely, being as close as he is at 260 wins, wants to get that mark. I mean, he's kind of wanting to go, Peyton and Brady territory. He's wanting to continue to push the envelope and kind of make a run at it as far as the all-time greats. And man, I mean, he's still pitching at a pretty high level for Houston for a team that has needed some solid pitching this year.
They've needed some stability, I guess, in that starting rotation. So if he can give them that, that's fantastic. You talk about Verlander wanting to pitch until he's 50. Boston is apparently bringing up Rich Hill, 44-year-old Rich Hill, who they signed to a minor league contract a couple of weeks ago, and threw a scoreless 2 innings for their AAA affiliate at Worcester.
Wow.
Hill last year pitched for the Padres and Pirates, posted a 5.41 ERA across 32 appearances, 27 starts, 5 relief appearances. This will be his 20th big league season. This will be his fourth. His fourth appearance with the Red Sox among 13 teams that he's pitched for at the major league level. So Rich Hill kind of showing Justin Verlander the way right there.
Man, yeah, I'm looking at his career numbers here. Cubs, Orioles, Red Sox, Indians back in the day, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Yankees, Red Sox, like you said. For some reason, randomly, I remember him on the Athletics. Dodgers, Twins, Rays, Mets, Red Sox, Pirates, Padres. You're 44 years of age. You got a ripe old win-loss record of 90-73. So he's grinding them out. Yeah, 44 years old, man. Yeah, showing it out there. And Wikipedia, has his nickname listed. Rich Hill.
Dick Mountain. There we go.
Talk about getting it done. Former Michigan Wolverine back in the day.
Oh, there you go.
So, I mean, man, when would that be?
A long time ago.
I mean, that's all. I mean, it ain't Jim Abbott, era, but I mean, dang, it's not too far removed.
It's right at the turn of the millennium, I guess. Yeah, that's wild.
2001 MLB draft, but decided to come back to the Wolverines. And then junior year 2002, and maybe should have went ahead and went pro. 3-7.
Lost a little bargain.
Then got in there with the Cubs in the 2002 draft in the 4th round. Man, Dick Mountain going into the right. He might go to 50, man. I mean, if you can sign a deal in August, why not? You know.
And here's the thing: he's left-handed, so
always, yeah.
Hour number 1 of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, winds up right here. When we come back to the Lee Company Studios, a little MTSU talk with the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters. Stay tuned after the break.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton, our final segment of today. Wade and I will be giving you our top 5 college football traditions/entrances, so be sure and stick around for that. Right now, I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more college football because we've got the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters, as Wade's Chip's Blue Raiders get ready for their season opener against Tennessee Tech. 6 o'clock, Floyd Stadium, Derek Mason's debut. Burl built, middle made.
And Chip's 34th season at the helm.
34th. And they said it wouldn't last.
It's kind of you and I go back long enough, Mo, that I've got to get it through my head that we're playing Tech in the opening game instead of the closing game of the regular season. And it's the excitement's starting to build. A lot of buzz around town, which is great, and I think that's been part of, what when the change in coaching was made. They wanted to add some excitement and get some buzz going, and that's happening this week. We had our first coaches show last night, and had a nice crowd there, which is no indication of what's going to be at Floyd Stadium, but a lot of effort being put forth. I have there from a standpoint of getting the word out. There's been a ton of effort on that, whether it's buying television spots in Titans preseason games to signage on campus to get the word out to students to whatever, to a beefed up, a very much beefed up party in the Grove prior to the game on or every week or every home game. And today they announced the music headliners for the first 3 home games. So a lot of stuff happening. And as Coach Mason said last night, he said, I told him, I said, you've been in a whirlwind. The first thing we talked about, I said, you've been in a whirlwind since mid-December. And I said, does it kind of feel unreal that it's finally here? He goes, I guess it's time to unveil it. So we're going to unveil it on Saturday.
There we go. It has been a whirlwind, and he has kind of been everywhere, it feels like. And I would imagine to some degree, when he finally gets on the field, I would imagine to some extent, it's going to just kind of calm down because now it's finally football.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I bet that was a lot of the case too when fall camp started. I thought the exact same thing, is that, at the end of the day, he's a football coach. He's been a PR man and baby kisser and all of that, since December, and he's done a really good job of it. Obviously, he's been very intentional with that, because I think that was part of why he was brought in and was coached up on that those type of things needed to happen. But football coaches are football coaches, and they're most at home on the practice field and on the game field. And I thought it was kind of interesting yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to watch his weekly press conference, but Derek's kind of an over-the-top kind of guy out in public. He was very, in my opinion, very subdued and calm during his press conference yesterday. I think he has a real quiet confidence about this group that, and mainly because of the way that they have gone about their work and have bought into what he and his staff have asked them to buy into. And it has to be a calming effect if you're a brand new head coach and you look out there and, okay, I've got Nick Vattiato as my quarterback. And that's where we're going to start. And I've got Devin Curtis out there as a linebacker. And, that I said, okay, we'll be all right. And, there's going to be a lot of new and a lot of new names, a lot of new faces. There's going to be a lot of old faces with new numbers and stuff that we all have to deal with. But all in all, it's a lot of excitement, and to have Tech coming in that I think Bobby Wilder is going to bring a nice team in here. That they returned 3 all-conference players on defense. They've got a quarterback back that had good success a year ago. So this is a game that Middle is taking seriously. I will tell you this, and you'll appreciate this as well, that Jamie Blatnick, the new strength and conditioning coach, took his, as you know, right now, the weight room is temporarily in a dance studio in Murphy Center. And I think on Saturday or Sunday when they had their workout, he took each workout group over to the Hall of Fame and showed them the totem pole, showed them Harvey in the glass case, and told them what it meant and how long that it has meant a lot to so many people on both sides of this rivalry, just so they had a sense that, hey, this is not just another non-conference game or a season opener. This one's got a little juice to it.
Got a little juice to it. Like you said, Bobby Wilder in his first year at Tennessee Tech, bringing a team in here that would love to spoil, Derek Mason's debut and get their guys' Golden Eagle career off to a good start as well. So, I mean, certainly not a game that Middle can afford to overlook, I don't think.
Hey, can I call out somebody here right now? I just got a text from Randy Wilmore over at Farm Bureau Health Plans, whose cousin is Butch Wilmore, the astronaut that is at the ISS right now, and a former Tech football player. And Randy is a very avid Tech fan. I'd sent him a text earlier if he was coming to Murfreesboro. He said, "Yes, sir, and I plan on taking Shinny Ninny home with me." And I'm saying to Randy right now, nay. He's quite Harvey is quite comfortable where he is.
Yeah. Did you send back and remind him that MTSU has not lost in Murfreesboro to Tech since 1983? I mean, this is we've kind of gotten used to winning this series. Hadn't been played a ton, but the wins in Murfreesboro have been few and far between for Tennessee Tech as of late.
Well, the last time they played was about 12, 13 years ago, and then when the series ended on a regular basis, when Middle left the Ohio Valley Conference, Middle, I think, had won 8 straight or somewhere at that point. But there's a lot of great stories. The SID at Tech, Thomas Corhern, did a really nice story, kind of going into the history of how the totem pole came about through Fred Harvey. If all of us old heads remember Harvey's department store, that's how it happened. And there have been shenanigans throughout the years of Harvey being kidnapped, hoodwinked, whatever. He's taken his bruises and had some chunks taken out of him, but he stood the test of time, and I think I'm happy that Coach Blatnick has kind of told the football players what it does mean, and then on the field, I think the big thing is for Coach Mason and his crew, I think they want to go out and put on a good show against what will be, a formidable opposition from Tech. When you look at it, you go, here's an FCS team that has 60 new guys or an FBS team that has 60 new guys against an FCS program that's in a rebuild as well with a new head coach. So both sides have a lot of questions that I think will be answered after this weekend, simply because it'll be the first time out with a new coach, but it'll also mean there'll probably be new questions to be asked as well. But, looking forward to it, to see right now in the depth chart for Middle, there's a lot of ors instead of, 1, 2s, and 3s. There's a lot of this guy or this guy or this guy. So some of those questions will be answered over the weekend. Still waiting to get a 2 deep from Tech, and hope they're not trying to pull a Harbaugh up there. We'll have to see.
Never know. Hey, speaking of Tech, Chip, I want to ask you, the line, according to Vegas, is 23.5. Does that say more in your mind about Middle, or does that speak to maybe Tech, despite all that new talent, being maybe a little better than you potentially might anticipate an FCS team? Or even
I have no idea. I don't pay attention to that. The only thing I just happened to see a text or tweet out there or from somebody that had the games listed out what I saw said there was no line on it. But I just think in this day and age, Middle's going to be the favorite simply because they're the home team and they play in the FBS. That's just a fact. That's going to happen. But you see a lot of crazy things happen. You've seen all those Dakota teams go places and pull off things. We've seen App State go to Michigan. You can't take anybody for granted, and nobody should. We've been in just the opposite positions before, going to, you name it, Nebraska, Florida State, next week at Ole Miss. It'll be the same thing. Alabama last year. That shoe's been on the other foot. So, and you just cannot go into it thinking about it. I think, whoever wins this game will be happy to get it by 1 point and get out of there and go to the house. But both teams, I think, want to play well. Both teams want to play cleanly, stay away from penalties, and certainly stay away from injuries, and play the way that they feel like they were taught during fall camp to play. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think you're going to see a middle team that will want to run the ball and has a deep running back room right now with 4 running backs on the depth chart, and also with a boatload of tight ends on the depth chart. So you add those two things together, and that tells me that middle is going to want to run the football where they can and control the line of scrimmage, because, again, using another Derek Mason quote, at the end of the day, whether you're throwing the ball around, being cute, being fancy, it comes down to some guys up front whooping each other. And that's what it comes down to, whether you're on offensive line trying to control the line of scrimmage, or if you're on the defensive line trying to get a push and control the line of scrimmage. That's what it comes down to get things going. And a 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, a lot of position battles that we've known have been out there will be determined. So looking forward to all of that for sure.
You mentioned, Chip, just now, cute, and middle being a FBS team, Tech being an FCS team. You want to kind of establish that dominance up front and, not get cute with things, particularly offensively. So you do feel like this threatens to be a very run-heavy game, and as far as middle goes Saturday.
Well, if you can predict all you want, but none of us know how Bodie Reeder is going to call the game. Obviously, when you have a guy that's as talented as Nick Vattiato, you don't want to take the ball out of his hands, and especially when you have a couple of receivers like Holden Willis at tight end and Omari Kelly, the Auburn transfer. I think balance is a key word that they'll talk about a lot. I know I have my meetings with the coordinators on Thursday, and I'll ask some questions. I'll see if I get answers, but I'll ask questions, and everybody plays close to the vest week 1.
Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. You mentioned, Chip, the Party in the Grove music lineup has been set. Is that for public consumption? Yeah,
it is. It is out there, and for the first 3 weekends, I think there will actually be a couple of bands out there each week. One is kind of a warm-up band that will lead up to Raider Walk. And then as soon as Raider Walk is completed, the headliner for each week will come out, and Raider Walk will be at 3:45 on this week. And so that means the headliner will hit the stage about 4 o'clock in Walnut Grove. And this week it is going to be hip hop artist, Legendary Nedge. That's his stage name. Nick Ederson is what his mama named him, and he is a recent grad, recent as in May, in music business.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah, it's about as. You only have one other shot to be more recent than that, and that would be August. But Legendary Nedge has a degree in music business from Middle, and he is featured. If you've seen that We Do It All television commercial about the College of Media and Entertainment that's been out there, he is in that, and so he's going to bring hip hop flavor on this weekend for the Western Kentucky game. Hunter Girl, who was a finalist in American Idol, middle grad in music business from Winchester, who, by the way, is shooting a music video in Winchester as we speak right now. She'll be the entertainment. She'll be the headliner on September 14th. And then a country rock group, Cadillac 3, also middle grads. They will be on homecoming Saturday against the Duke Blue Devils. So that's the music groups that are out there. The party begins at 2:30 on officially, which will include food trucks.
There we go.
Officially, it'll begin earlier than that with good weather. Raider Walk, as we mentioned, at 3:45. The fun zone in the stadium opens as soon as the gates do at 4:30. The beer garden mow will open at 4:30, and so a lot of excitement going on. There's just a lot of awareness that they're putting out. So that's all going to be exciting, and I think all the efforts right now are pointing toward Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening at Floyd Stadium. It looks like we're going to have a nice crowd.
I don't want to get too far ahead, obviously, because there is football to be played between now and September 14th. But were you aware that TJ Finley was at Western Kentucky?
Yes, I was, but only as of recently. It's just, when it comes to the transfer portal, I'm just one man, and just like you are as well. But yeah, that's a he. They lose they lose the Reed kid, and now they get one who's been very good as well. So TJ Finley jumps in there, and it seems like that Western has had a great run of quarterbacks, and I did see where Bailey Zappi, who kind of started that, he and Mike White kind of started that whole run for them. That Zappi is going to be released by the Patriots. So
would you please stop looking at my run of show?
I hope that I'm just hoping I'm just hoping that now under the transfer portal and NIL era that Western doesn't go try to pick Zappi back up.
Oh, if anybody would, it would be those Hilltoppers for sure. Yeah, Wade and I were just talking about that yesterday. I didn't realize he was there until, I guess, they're playing Alabama to open the season. Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, was at South Alabama. Finley played against them last year, so that's how it came up. But I had no idea that he was there after Texas State, Auburn, LSU. So it's just really fascinating. But like you said, transfer portal, enough said.
Well, and what he does, he gives them something they have not had in a while, and that is a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah. He will definitely present a challenge.
Yep.
Chip.
Hey, one other final note about football, and for people who are coming to the game on Saturday, and there's questions are always about parking. There's a lot of permit parking for BRAA members, season ticket holders, things like that. I'll give you a tip. Bell Street parking lot, which is a very quick walk up Middle Tennessee Boulevard, and do not be afraid to park in the interior of campus. There's a ton, because a lot of people, they think, okay, they immediately head to the Greenland Drive parking lot, and that's normally taken up by donor parking, things like that. Don't be afraid to go to the interior of campus or lots that are around the perimeter of campus, because there's a lot of parking spaces that are absolutely free, and that's my tip of the day.
So like over by Kirksey Old Main and Peck, and over that way?
Over that way, out by the Livestock Center, out past baseball, even down around, again, those lots along Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Bell Street lot. across from Murphy Center, a block up there on Crestline and Division. There's a few more open lots back up there that are kind of hidden. So there's a lot of there's a lot of parking to be had if you just know where to look.
There you go.
That is a good tip.
There we go. Obviously, football is opening against Tennessee Tech. Soccer has set the tone with a win to open Rec Tech Week.
That's right. On Sunday evening, got a 3-2 win, which broke a 2-game losing streak for soccer. And they are now, I think they're back at home Thursday night, and they've got this is part of a 3-game homestand. So looking forward to that. But yeah, they kind of set the tone, and they've had some nice crowds for a couple of games at home. They opened at home against Belmont, lost by a goal, went on the road to Louisiana Lafayette last Thursday, and then came home on Sunday and won. And now they've got 2 more home games, Thursday and Sunday of this week. And it's a fun place to go watch soccer. I mean, you're kind of right on top of things over at the Dean Hayes Track and Soccer Stadium.
You're trying to upset the Raging Cajuns by calling them Louisiana Lafayette, aren't you?
Well, University of Louisiana.
That's their preference.
That's correct. That is their preference. Yes.
That's their preference. As far as I'm concerned, they're still Louisiana Lafayette. But anyway, tell us about your men's basketball coach hanging out and hobnobbing with the champions.
Well, first of all, there is some breaking news about the men's basketball schedule that it slipped out through Tennessee yesterday, I think, but today,
last week,
yeah, Middle made it official that on December 23rd, the Blue Raiders will go to the TBA and take on Rick Barnes' Volunteers, which that should be a nice little Christmas present, but in a nice little road trip. So that means both Middle's men and women will make the trip up I-40. The women play a couple weeks earlier, and that's after they knocked off the Lady Vols last year in Huntsville. This will be the second of 4 games between the two next year in Murfreesboro, and then one more in Knoxville in 2026, I guess. For the men, this is a one-time deal, but Coach Nick McDevitt spent all of last week with the Boston Celtics. They every year bring in a handful of college coaches from around the country, and literally a handful, about 4 or 5, and they spend all week basically embedded with the Celtics staff. Number one, working on things with the Celtics team members who are there on the floor, but also spending most mornings, going through scenarios and going through film and talking about, how are you going to defend this action or ball screen coverages, and really just kind of sharing ideas. And I talked to Nick on Sunday, and he said I bet I got 30 pages of notes of stuff that we talked about. I know he was there. Nate Oates from Alabama was there. Coach from Bucknell was there, and another one. I can't remember who that was, but he has a connection through one of the Celtics assistants was with him in Asheville, UNC Asheville, and so he said it was really great. It was very much give and take. Everybody shared, and something he said, certain things he never thought about. He threw out things that they did, but he said, it just kind of blows him away in the NBA just how detailed, they can get, because they don't have to worry about, okay, who's going to class today and all this kind of stuff. That the film work that the NBA players do is unbelievably detailed and very deep as far as is what they try to do. But it's a big honor for him to get to be selected to come up and spend a full week with the Celtics staff and I think Brad Stevens was even involved in that some as the general manager. But all of his guys are back, and they had their first workout of the actual fall semester today. So back on the court, the women had their final piece arrive the other day, their final signee. And so their full complement of players is in town, and saw a bunch of the Lady Raiders out at Fan Day on Sunday. So just a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things happening.
I'm intrigued, Chip, by two things. One, you said give and take with regards to that Celtics situation, because you wonder if it's a lecture or if it's a mutual brain picking type situation when something like that takes place.
According to him, there's a lot of give and take both ways. And they may show a piece of video, the Celtics, it could be something against the Knicks, whatever, and they may say, here's the way we defend this type of set or whatever, and then it's open up to, well, hey, what about this or whatever, and you may ask Nate Oates, how do you recruit all those good 3-point shooters or what those kind of things. But it's my understanding that it's not a lecture deal. It's all sitting around and sharing of ideas and watching a ton of film. And then, I asked him about what type of players were there, and he goes, off of their main roster, he said probably players, 9 or 10 through 13, and then off of their developmental or their G League roster, some of their very top G League people. But there were players there to kind of actually go out and do some things on the court together. So he said it was a lot of fun and got a lot out of it.
And you wonder, the perception that a lot of people have of the NBA is just throw the balls out there and go play them. When you talk about the film study and the detail of it and that kind of thing, a lot of folks would probably find that kind of hard to believe.
Well, exactly. I mean, and because, the stereotype is, well, they don't play any defense. Well,
or they don't run any plays or whatever else. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, and the reality is, from a basketball coaching standpoint, that it is, where, let's say, pick a team. I mean, Belmont, Middle, whoever, they may have a certain set that they have 3 options out of, that depending on what defense is thrown at them. In the NBA, that may go 7 or 8 deep, depending on how they do. What it kind of reminds me of is, and it's kind of a baseball analogy. If you've seen any of the clips of the Greg Maddux documentary, where and I never thought about this, how he called his own pitches, and the way he did it was how he caught the ball when the catcher threw him the ball back. When Eddie Perez would throw him the ball back, if he caught it this way or this way or this way or whatever, that told Eddie what pitch Greg was going to throw next. And so, there are tells in basketball when if you run something. I mean, it's kind of like running an option offense in football. The quarterback, if he you either take the dive, or if you pull it and you hit the end, well, what does the defensive end do? If he comes in, then you're going to pitch it. If he takes the running back, then you're going to keep it. So there's options there. Basketball is very similar a lot of times in the way that they run things. And, sometimes it's very hard and rigid about running a specific play to get a specific shot for a specific player on a specific spot on the floor. But more times than not, it is more about option-oriented basketball. So,
and the funny part is in college, you might be drawing up that play to get a foot to a foot and a half of separation at the most. And in the NBA, you might be talking half an inch is a successful. And if you get that half inch, that's a 3-pointer right in your face. And that's how lethal those guys are.
If Steph Curry gets that half,
you don't even need
money. Yeah, so absolutely. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, as he does almost every Tuesday. Except when he doesn't.
Chip, your spotter's been doing this 44 years. Is that correct?
Wayne Gross?
Yeah. I mean, he's got you by 10 years, my friend. So you're in good hands.
And I will say this, Mr. Dick Palmer, he is still part of our Blue Raider Network crew, hosting. He and a friend of the show, JP Plant, will be hosting our tailgate and Inside Blue Raider football show and the Raider wrap-up show. Mr. Palmer and Mr. Gross started the same year, 1981. So they have both been part of the radio crew for 44 years. I've been part of it for 34. And our man, Joe Dubin, is the youngster of the bunch. This is year 2 for him, but saw him last night. He's excited and ready to go. So
it's that time.
It is that time.
6 o'clock, Floyd Stadium, MTSU and Tennessee Tech. When do you hit the air?
4:30 with our Blue Raider tailgate show, and Inside Blue Raider football will be at 5, and then countdown to kickoff with Joe and I begins at 5:30. Kickoff at 6:02 on the Blue Raider Network and ESPN Plus.
Chip, we appreciate you.
There you go. Thank you, boys.
Talk to you next week.
Later.
Next up on Main Street Sports today, it is, well, Wade talked about comings and goings, and I guess it's probably time that we get into some of those across the National Football League. So we will do that when we return to the Lee Company studios after this break.
Robertson County Chancery Court is hosting an in-person court auction Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Buy up to 9.46 acres of beautiful Robertson County land, selling in 2 tracts. Each tract includes water and approved soil areas. Located at 4637 Boyd Holland Road. Join us Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Sales subject to court approval. For more details, call 615-384-5650 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yes, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation under
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. Associated Press on the show yesterday, and we wound up talking quarterbacks, and we wound up talking Malik Willis, and there was some conjecture on whether or not the Titans would around a third quarterback or whether they would cut a quarterback. Well, turns out they didn't either.
Yep.
Well, they did not cut a quarterback, but they did not keep a quarterback.
Yeah, they indirectly did one of the two.
Yeah, not long after we got off the air, actually. Malik Willis is now a Green Bay Packer, and a former Green Bay Packers 7th round draft pick is now a Titans draft pick. And, you know, I think Malik Willis has to kind of feel like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption at this point. He's free.
Yeah. I don't know what Malik probably thought else he could have potentially done, I suppose, to really improve his stock or good graces. And the good news is, this is always the fun thing about this time of the year in the NFL. You're always accumulating reps and always accumulating tape. And it's usually not for the team. If you're one of these guys on the fringe, it's usually not for the team that you're currently with.
On.
So you're just putting together tape for somebody else. And the Packers apparently saw enough that they didn't want to roll the dice on him getting put on waivers and them not being in position to pick him up. So a little shrewd bit of business for the Titans. A guy that it sounds like you were already going to cut anyway. You might as well pick up a little something on the way out the door.
Green Bay's options behind up-and-coming QB Jordan Love were Sean Clifford, a 2023 5th-round draft pick out of Penn State, and Michael Pratt, a rookie who was taken in the 7th round back in April. And I have no idea where Michael Pratt is from. Tulane?
Is that, yeah. The quarterback?
Yeah.
Formerly.
I do have an idea where Michael Pratt is from.
Oh, yeah.
Give myself some credit.
The athletic player of the year in 2023.
But I think that, and I actually posted this on my Facebook yesterday, I feel like Malik Willis kind of closely resembles Jordan Love at the top of Malik's game, I think. And we've talked about, aligning your first and second string quarterbacks from a skill set standpoint. And I kind of think that's what Green Bay did to a degree.
100%. I was just getting ready to say that's what Michael Sean Dugard told us, that the way he likes approaching the building of your roster in terms of your quarterback position is, and we saw it with the Ravens to an extent last year, especially when Lamar goes down and you see guys like Huntley come in and perform well. Similar to the Browns in the way that they're currently composed this year. Kind of guys that are a little bit more fleet of feet, if you will, behind Watson there. So, yeah, this could be a potential real nice move for the Packers. And obviously, like I said, a little shrewd bit of business for the Titans as well.
Absolutely, yeah. If you can get a pick for a guy that you were going to cut anyway, why not? So let Rand cook, right? Malik was the 3rd quarterback taken in his draft class, taken in the 3rd round. 1st-round cornerback Caleb Farley has also been released by the Titans. And, from a personal standpoint, it's kind of tough because this guy's been through a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he was injured at Virginia Tech. He's dealt with injuries in the league. He's dealt with some family hardships and tragedies and that kind of thing. But strictly from a football standpoint, I don't think you can find any fault with the Titans with this decision.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like it was inevitable, unfortunately, for Caleb Farley, who, probably didn't get the fairest of shakes from the football gods, the way things that kind of panned out upon his arrival into the NFL. And so, happy trails, I suppose, in that regard. Hopefully he latches on somewhere, and there's still maybe some football in his future if that's the route he decides to pursue going forward.
Absolutely. Did not play his 2020 college season at Virginia Tech because of COVID concerns, tore his ACL in 21. Played in just 12 games in 3 seasons. So, yeah, that's, as you said, not necessarily a fair shake from the football. But as you also said, comings and goings, because while Willis and Farley have departed Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, Ernest Jones is coming in. Former LA Rams linebacker Ernest Jones, 3rd round pick of the Rams in 2021. 320 total tackles, 5.5 sacks in 3 years. Wanted a contract extension. With those numbers, I'm not sure I blame him. But the Rams said no, and instead pulled the trigger on Ernest Jones and a 2026 6th rounder coming to Nashville in exchange for Tennessee's 2026 5th rounder.
Seems like a good deal for the Titans. Like you said, 24 years old, coming from South Carolina, very explosive. And the early reports, the early intel is this guy's going to potentially be a big contributor right away for the Titans in their linebacker core. So, again, another shrewd bit of business here for Tennessee.
And it felt like the Titans were maybe a little thin at inside backer in particular. So a nice move.
Similar in the same mold of Kenneth Murray, as it looks like those two guys will be first-year coordinator Denard Wilson's kind of interior guy. So on a day where you're really focusing kind of on who's leaving, this is a nice little bit of business here for the Titans on who's coming in.
Yeah. As Chip indicated in our last segment, Bailey Zappi, who was kind of forefront of those Western Kentucky quarterbacks getting into the NFL, followed by Mike White. Mike White was released by the Jets, I think, here not too long ago. Well, Bailey Zappi had released by the Patriots. 15 of 25 for 37 yards, no touchdowns, no picks in the preseason. Played 36 snaps in their first preseason game. 5 snaps in game 2, 6 in the finale, with Drake May and Joe Milton III, the former Tennessee quarterback, getting the bulk of that time. And it is May, Milton, and obviously Jacoby Brissett that remain in New England's quarterback room with the cut of Zappi, who they also cut last year and then brought back to the practice squad. You hate to see it to the degree that an MTSU graduate hates to see something happen to a Western Kentucky guy. But, seriously, anytime a guy from that level gets a shot, you like to see him maximize it. And you feel like he's probably shown enough that he's going to wind up with somebody.
Yeah, I would think so. And you mentioned Mike White. He gets released by the Dolphins today as well. So those two guys formerly at WKU. Yeah, this Zappi feels like he ends up on somebody else's roster. The other interesting QB that's now hit the market is C.J. Beathard from Jacksonville. With the arrival of Mac Jones, it felt like his, role as the backup was probably in question. So he is now on the market.
Maybe a QB. You'd rather have Mac Jones than C.J. Beathard? I mean, I'm not
the Jaguars brass, but I guess that's what they're telling you.
I mean, former BGA standout, you hate to hear
Titans QB3. Come on down.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to Zion Christian Coach Kurt Beathard a couple of weeks ago, CJ's uncle, and he said, "Yeah, he's still in Jacksonville, still hanging on."
Yep.
So, I guess not.
Yep. Yeah. Come on down to Nashville. I mean, so these moves are kind of getting rolled around. The Patriots, like we said, are making a lot of big moves. Probably best, honestly, for the Titans side of things if we wait until tomorrow to kind of go through all these because there's been so many. But Yeah, this is a big kind of swing day across the NFL. Former Kentucky guy, Will Greer, looks like he's hit the market. So the QBs are the ones that kind of get a lot of the attention here. Sam Hartman was cut this afternoon by the Commanders. Desmond Ridder, who we just talked about a couple weeks ago with Michael Sean Dugar, he has now been cut from the Cardinals. So I saw one more. Nathan Peterman has hit the market. I'm sure that will surprise not a ton of people.
No, the surprise is that he was on a roster to start with. Oakland cut him. I'm sorry, Vegas cut him, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Emory Jones, the former Florida standout from way back in the day, he has been let go by Baltimore as well. So lots of moving parts here. And again, you're right. Some of these guys are going to end up on different teams. Frank Gore Jr. cut by the Bills today. Man, we just got the heartwarming video of him dapping up Papa Frank Gore last week in their preseason game, and then they cut him today. So,
well, at least you got the photo.
At least the clip, lives forever. I suppose it was a touching moment. But
there we go.
Yeah, we'll give you a full update. Lamar Jackson was cut today. The Carolina Panthers cornerback, I should say. I didn't mean to alarm anybody. I didn't mean to alarm anybody. So Brett Rippon from the Bears hits the highway. So yeah, lots of moving parts here from these squads this afternoon.
Yeah, that will make a nice segment tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
Dante Foreman cut by the Browns.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Let's swing into the final segment of the afternoon here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. Two great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Whatever shape it is you're in, Thalos Steel will get you in a better one. You can find him at steelathletes.com. That's STEEL athletes.com. Check him out. Top 5 Tuesday. Wade and I are going to wade through the top 5 college football entrances / traditions as we get you ready for full-blown college football this weekend. Wade, the floor is yours.
Homer pick, but number one, go ahead and give me the Vols running through the tee. I'm just going to go ahead and get it on the list because, man, that will give you goosebumps. I'm not even a Tennessee fan. Been to many, many games. Parents have season tickets, had them for a long time, but something about that when that happens to get you going.
I'm going to go at number one. I'm going to stay in that area. I'm going to go less entrance and more tradition. The Vol Navy.
Yep.
Which is only replicated, I think, at the University of Washington just because nobody else.
Sailgating out there.
Sailgating?
Mm-hmm.
Not tailgating, sailgating.
Yep.
I like it. What other stadiums are right up against a large body of water like that would allow you to enter via boat? That's pretty cool. If anybody has a boat that participates in the Vol Navy that would like to invite me along one weekend, I'd be more than happy to go. Just saying.
I don't know that they still do, but there's a group from Pulaski. They set out down in Rogersville, Alabama on like Tuesday, and they end up in Knoxville by Saturday.
What kind of jobs they got, man?
Well, one of them is the mayor of Pulaski now, J.J. Brindley. So
well,
I don't know when the last time Mayor Brindley has been doing that, but he was one of the infamous ones. It was, yeah, you leave out on a Tuesday. The good news is you don't even ride back on the boat. They haul it back on the truck. So you're in good shape then.
Well, I don't know that I can take 4 days off. So
yeah.
I'm probably not built for that one. But anyway, number 2.
Up next for me, exit light, enter night. Give me Virginia Tech. In a perfect world, this is a Thursday night game. Back when that was a real novelty, give me Virginia Tech on a Thursday night with the inner Sandman for the run out. I would absolutely have goosebumps if I were able to be there for that.
As much as I dumped on Clemson yesterday, their entrance from the top of that stadium coming down the hill, rubbing Howard's Rock as they come in, there's not too many better than that.
That is the one we opened up the show. That's the one I've been to. Sat in the MTSU was playing, but I went to the game and was in the Clemson student section. Don't tell Chip Walters that. It is pretty cool. I'm not a big Clemson fan by any stretch. Kind of almost in Ohio State territory in that regard, but it is pretty cool. So 2009, MTSU actually played pretty well in that game. Only lost by 14 points. So, 100% cool.
Number 3, sir.
Number 3, Ralphie. One of the only mascots that is a female more often than not. Got to show love to Ralphie. And this Ralphie that they currently have is only like 3 years old. She's still kind of a baby almost. But don't be messing. I know Wild and Wacky Wednesday we like with the wild animals. Don't be messing with this baby Ralphie. But when Colorado is rolling and when Ralphie gets to running, that to me is as good as it gets in terms of college football.
It's probably a little polarizing, but I think Florida State has cleared it with all of the particulars. When Chief Osceola rides out onto the field and throws that flaming spear into the logo at field, I've never seen it in person, but I would imagine it's goosebumps.
That was pretty good. And then Bobby Bowden came back and did it that one year in like 2013, right? A couple of years before he passed. You're right. That is one of the all-time great college football traditions.
No doubt.
Ain't no doubt about it. Up next, I'll go back into homer mode. Give me the Michigan run out with the M Club banner. Go Blue, M Club supports you. They run out and they touch the banner. Big entrance, big thing, 100,000+ people in attendance. That alone gets me fired up on a Saturday morning usually.
I'm going to stay in the Big Ten, and I'm typically not much of a Big Ten fan. I'm certainly not an Ohio State fan. But when they dot that I, when the band spells out Ohio and then they bring out whoever it is to dot the I in the middle of the field, that's pretty cool stuff. I mean, it's right there with Kentucky basketball spelling out cats, that's a cool tradition, I think. I don't want to give Ohio State too much credit, but it's
cool. I'd prefer not to do that, but yeah.
I understand. I understand.
It is what it is. I'm an old band guy from back in the day too, so I mean, I got props for that. So,
and I'm glad I'm far enough from you that you can't reach me when I say that. But because I know you're Michigan allegiances.
It is what it is. Last for me, South Carolina, 2001 Space Odyssey. Oh, mama. Sir, Mr. Big Spur, out there, it does not get a lot better, especially when South Carolina is playing well. It's already pretty good even when they're not doing so great, but when they are rolling, 2001 Space Odyssey really slaps out there at Williams-Brice.
It really does. I've been there for that. It's pretty cool. Georgia Tech being led onto the field by a rambling wreck. I'm sorry, rambling.
Yeah.
No G.
Yeah, no.
A 1930 Ford Model T leading the team out onto the field. It's kind of underestimated, I think, in terms of coolness for entrances. But give me Georgia Tech for my 5th and final pick.
And they play this weekend. That's crazy to think about. They're at home this weekend versus Georgia State. You thought that maybe you have a little buffer after going to Ireland, but woof.
Well, I'll be interested, though, to see what kind of crowd they have after that big win.
Yeah.
So, maybe they planned it that way.
Other clutch one, when it works properly and it doesn't topple over. We've seen it topple over a few times, this Boomer Schooner. It always makes the top 10. Hopefully everybody's okay. But, man, when that thing flips over, that's not very fun. But when it rolls properly, it's one of the cool things to see.
The War Eagle at Auburn is cool, too.
Yeah. Auburn is solid in that regard for sure.
That's going to do it for Top 5 Tuesday, brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Be sure and check them out at steelathletes.com. Check us out at 2 o'clock tomorrow right here on Main Street Sports Today.